Chocolatey caramel with a touch of salt. What can get better than that? Hi, I'm Kathleen. Welcome to the Bulldog Bakery. That's my home kitchen in Hell's Kitchen. Today we're going to make salted caramel brownies. This is one of the simplest things that I make. I've made them for 100 million years, and they're simple because they start with cake mix. Give yourself a break, use the shortcut. The recipe is perfection, don't mess with it. Let's get started. Step number 1 is to melt 3/4 of a cup of unsalted butter. That's 1.5 sticks of butter. You can slice it down and then just put it over sort of medium-high heat and stir it until it's all melted. And once it's melted, go ahead, remove it from the stove, and go ahead and pour that butter out into a separate bowl. And you're going to use the saucepan again right away. So go ahead and put your butter aside and get your saucepan ready. Butter's out of the saucepan, but in that same saucepan, go ahead, throw in the caramels, 1 bag unwrapped, and you're going to add to that 1/3 cup of evaporated milk. And this goes back on the stovetop. And just go ahead and heat this over sort of a medium-ish flame. Give it a stir every once in a while. As it starts to heat up, these caramels will melt and blend with the evaporated milk, and that's going to make our caramel sauce. Just keep stirring it. Don't let that milk boil. If you start to see little bubbles, either turn down the heat or keep stirring. You don't want it to overcook. You just want it to melt. And just keep going until you have a smooth caramel sauce. I like to do it in the pan where I melted the butter because 1, I pick up a little bit of that butter flavor in the caramel sauce, and then 2, it also helps it from sticking too much to the saucepan. So now that you've gotten this nice smooth sauce, take it off the heat and just set it on the back burner. As everything else that I bake from scratch, but this is the one recipe I use a mix. So this is good old chocolate fudge cake mix in the bowl. And to it, I'm going to add that melted butter, that whole 3/4 of a cup that we melted before, and another 1/3 of a cup of the evaporated milk. Put like that. And then give this thing a stir. And I need both hands, so I'm going to put down the camera. And you stir it up till you've got your batter. And it's nice and smooth because of all that butter. Okay, and once your batters come together, roughly divide it in half, and half of it is going to go into the pan. And dump half of it into your pan. You don't need to grease your pan. You don't need to flour your pan. You don't need to spray your pan. Because again, there's so much butter in this, it's going to naturally release it from the pan. So just go ahead and pat it, and spread it so it completely covers the surface of your pan. Okay, so half your batter is in the pan, spread out, and now this is going into the oven at 350. And it goes for 7 minutes. Okay, and then after 7 minutes, take it out of the oven. You'll see there's a nice surface as it's starting to bake. Keep the temperature going, but on top of this, you're going to pour chocolate chips. Now, I'm using today mini chocolate chips, but you can use regular sized chocolate chips. You could use dark chocolate chips. Use whatever you've got. So go ahead and cover the surface in the chocolate chips. And as the chips hit the hot batter, they're going to start to melt. And now I'm going to attempt to pour the caramel and hold my iPhone at the same time. So, that's good. But as you can see, that nice, delicious, rich, ooey gooey, buttery caramel sauce just pours right out of the saucepan, and you just want to spread it all over that delicious chocolatey chocolate chipped base that you've made for it. Yeah, yummy. Now we've got our layer of caramel, and if you want to make them extra, go ahead and make them salted caramel brownies by just putting a little layer of salt right on top. Now's the time to use that fancy ass salt that somebody gave you. Just go ahead and throw a little bit, not too much, over that surface. Then you take the second half of the batter and just spoon it in sort of random bits all over the top. You're going to sort of cover the surface, leaving little pockets of caramel in between. And this baby is ready to go back in the oven. And then after 12 minutes, go ahead and take it out of the oven and check it. You want to check it by the knife. Insert the knife into one of the battery parts and come through. And if it comes out clean, then your brownies are done. And then go ahead and let them cool. And now all that's left to do is to have one. Good night.